On July 27, 2025, the skies above Ukraine thundered with the roar of engines. Hundreds of North Korean tanks and thousands of soldiers surged across the frontier, believing they were about to carve history with steel and fire. Instead, they plunged headlong into an inferno. Suicide drones meant to clear the path detonated too early, painting the horizon with walls of flame. T-90 tanks' armored symbols of might erupted on unseen mines. Crews screamed as turrets flew skyward and armored hulls flipped like toys. North Korea had come as predator, but within minutes it was prey. The fields echoed with explosions, fire and death. Medics rushing to aid the wounded were cut down by follow-up blasts. A teenage conscript crawled from a burning vehicle only to vanish in another explosion seconds later. Ukraine was waiting silent, patient, merciless. At 6:40 a.m., satellites spotted a colossal armored column rolling out of a captured Russian base in Donetsk. This was no skirmish. It was an invasion. 80 suicide drones led the charge, carrying explosives designed to tear open bunkers. Behind them thundered 60 T-90 tanks, 40 armored carriers, and more than 800 troops. For the first time, North Korea had unleashed a full mechanized strike group beyond its borders. It was a statement written in blood and steel. Pyongyang stood shoulder to shoulder with Moscow. The cost, over $370 million, was staggering for a sanctioned state. Yet the regime believed Ukraine was weak, distracted, exposed. They had no idea that beneath the wheat fields and winding roads, Ukraine had laid a trap more intricate than any minefield in history. For 17 nights, Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade transformed 3 square miles of farmland into a killing ground. Over 200 anti-tank mines were buried with surgical precision. Some were triggered by pressure, others by heat vibration or infrared. Narrow lanes were deliberately left open to bait the enemy into false safety. NATO engineers had signed off on the design. From the air, the terrain looked peaceful. Beneath it was a loaded gun. At 7:03 a.m., the first North Korean tank rolled over the invisible line. The blast tore the 65-ton machine apart, hurling its turret nearly 50 feet skyward. In 4 minutes, 17 tanks were gone. Command posts watching from UAV feeds saw steel vanish in fireballs, coordinates updating in real time. And still, the column pressed forward straight into annihilation. Even Ukraine nearly faltered. A supply truck carrying replacement drone batteries veered within 6 feet of the minefield's edge. One wrong turn and weeks of preparation would have been ruined. The driver braked just in time, dust settling over the silent death zone. It was a reminder war rewards brilliance but punishes the smallest error. The North Koreans, blind and desperate, pushed deeper. And then Ukraine struck. At 7:15 a.m., the ground erupted with thunder. From hidden ridges, tree lines, and hollowed-out villages, 32 T-84 Oplot tanks stormed forward, ceramic armor glinting in the rising sun. 10 Badana howitzers roared from concealed positions, guided shells striking within meters of precision. Anti-air platforms, bristling with rotary cannons, scanned the skies. The North Koreans reeled. Turrets swung wildly. Orders overlapped. Formation disintegrated. Within 90 seconds, 9 more tanks were obliterated. One Ukrainian round punched through 2 carriers at once, setting both ablaze. North Korea's surviving suicide drones dove in desperation. 33 machines screamed downward at Ukrainian armor, but the counter had been prepared. Shkval 6 rotary cannons, 6-barreled monsters firing 4,000 rounds per minute, shredded the swarm into burning fragments. Some detonated mere feet above tank turrets, only to be deflected skyward by reactive armor panels. The rest were hijacked by Ukraine's electronic warfare, lured into crashing against empty hills. In 4 minutes, the air was clear. Ukraine had turned the drones into ash. Then came the artillery. From a ridgeline, howitzers rained precision shells on retreating troops and trucks. One round struck a fuel convoy, igniting a fireball that engulfed medical vehicles in seconds. Ukrainian tank commander Vadim the Wolf watched through his hull camera. His words cut like steel. They didn't retreat. They evaporated. By 7:31 a.m., just 16 minutes into the ambush, the invasion's spearhead was shattered. But Ukraine wasn't finished. Operation Frosthook was next. From trenches, barns, culverts and forest lines, 850 Ukrainian infantry emerged. They had lain still for 36 hours, hidden under camouflage nets, their body heat monitored to avoid drone detection. These were elite units, thermal sharpshooters, RPG-29 crews, electronic warfare squads. As North Korean infantry scrambled from burning carriers, dozens of RPGs shrieked across the field, tandem warheads punching through armor. A single hit ignited an ammo truck, sending a fireball 3 stories high and cracking windows half a mile away. Snipers using thermal scopes picked off officers with chilling precision, sowing panic through the ranks. Within minutes, 110 North Koreans lay dead or incapacitated. Others ran dropping weapons, but Ukraine's airborne recon had already sealed their rear. Retreat turned into slaughter. Caught between hammer and anvil, the battalion was shredded. And in the chaos came the prize. Ukrainian medics pulled a wounded officer from a wrecked command vehicle, Colonel Kim Min-ho, commander of North Korea's 42nd Armored Regiment. He had disguised himself as a private, but a sharp-eyed sergeant spotted the satin-lined officer's cap, hidden under his vest. On him were encrypted drives carrying orders for the next 72 hours, maps of fallback regiments, and full operational details. Analysts would call it the most valuable capture of the war. By 8:05 a.m., 85 minutes after the assault began, it was over. 42 armored vehicles destroyed, 230 North Korean soldiers killed or captured, a commander taken alive. Satellite images showed wreckage stretching nearly 3 kilometers, flames still rising. In Pyongyang, silence. State media went dark for 36 hours. Reports surfaced of generals under investigation, one arrested while attempting to flee. Ukraine didn't gloat. At Mykolaiv Hospital, medics treated both Ukrainian and North Korean wounded. A single photograph went viral, a Ukrainian corporal kneeling beside a trembling 19-year-old North Korean offering him water. Amid the fire and blood, humanity flickered. In 85 minutes, Ukraine had dismantled a $370 million mechanized force. Not with brute firepower, but with patience, foresight, and precision. The farmland became a weapon. Silence became strategy. And the world watched as a regime's ambition dissolved into ruin. Because in the end, war is not won by the loudest explosions, but by the sharpest minds. Ukraine reminded us all, strength is not only the courage to fight, but the wisdom to wait, the skill to trap, and the humanity to remember that even enemies are still human beings. This battle will echo for decades in war manuals and strategy halls. The question now is, who will learn the lesson, and who will repeat North Korea's mistake?
Move it.